Hey friends, welcome to 1803 Neal Terrace. We're outside. A lot of exciting things going on here in the last couple days since we've seen you last. We've had the Eagle View ordered for the roof. So the roof will be going on later this week, but we got a roof ordered here. You can't protect a house if you don't have a good roof. Windows are on order. They're still a few weeks out, but we got to get them on order because we can't really do much on the inside until the house is dried in. So windows, doors, and roofs are all ordered from the outside, and then we also ordered some new hardy board siding, the concrete units, and you can see we're going to get rid of this, and to add a vertical element here, we're going to go with board and batten. You can see what that is across the street, and what it is those boards on the back and then the battens that join them, but it creates a nice visual element and draws your eye up. So I wouldn't do that on the bottom, but to take it off, to take this horizontal siding off and to go with vertical, it gives the illusion that the house is a little bit taller. So we'll do that on all the sides where there's currently vinyl siding. So all of that's gotten started and on order. While we're waiting for that to come in, the team has filled up our third dumpster, and now I think the house is completely cleared out. And we can really see how the house is going to unfold in the new floor plan. So in here, nice wide open space. If you can remember before, this was very compartmentalized. Now walking in from the front door, you can see the entire expanse of the front of the house, the main story of the house. And the goal is, as this is your home, you walk in and whomever's cooking dinner at the kitchen, maybe kids are doing homework at the island, whatever's going on, all that's visible from the front door. And since the kitchen is the heart of the house, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to hide it somewhere in the back. So that kitchen will be visible. We'll have pendant lights, we'll have recessed lighting. The electrical team will have a field day here, but we're gonna really modernize this house. We are just a couple minutes from downtown. We've got some really cool projects going around. On the way in, we saw an entire apartment complex being built out of shipping containers. So this is an area where lots of people are moving into. It's getting gentrified very quickly. So we want to put all the modern amenities in a house. So when you move into it, you don't have drafty single pane windows. You don't have an old flat roof. You don't have wall heaters. And so this house will be as modern as a new construction house. It'll just take us a few months to get there.
So a common theme that I'm seeing we talked a little bit before about how you are very good about coming up with a vision for a property about this entire basically home is being redone except for the location of the kitchen, but even the kitchen is going to be completely redone. But it seems like a common theme that I'm seeing is you got to be able to, and this is for flippers out there, for people that are new to flipping or maybe people that are flipping that want to take their flipping business to the next level to try to get closer to where you're at, is that vision of when you walk in to be able to see the kitchen right away. That's...
So yeah, one of the things, like if you think about a rapper and his medallion, they never wear it on the back. So if I'm gonna spend $500,000 on a piece of jewelry, I'm gonna wear it on my chest so everybody can see it. Mm-hmm. Well, in a house, the medallion is the kitchen. Mm-hmm. That's the highlight of the house. That's where we're gonna spend the most time and the most money per square foot customizing this house and making it something that people will wanna live in.
Yep.
Most people sleep in the bedrooms, but they live in the living room and the kitchen. So by joining those two areas together, by making it an entertaining space, mm-hmm. even if people aren't prone to entertaining, even if they'll never have a dinner party, if the wife is sitting in the living room watching TV and putting her feet up after a long day, and the husband's in the kitchen cooking dinner, they're still in the same room. If the kids come through and maybe, put some toast in the toaster, you've got the whole family living in the same area. You got kids at the dinner table doing whatever they're doing. By having it all segmented out with all these walls, then you've got a very splintered existence. By having it as a big open area, now that we have central heating and central air conditioning, the benefits of all these small rooms is really unneeded. It's unnecessary.
So let me ask you a quick question. So when you're knocking down some of these walls, how do you know if they're weight bearing or not weight bearing, and what are some of the solutions that you can do if it is a weight bearing wall?
So it's a great question. So with a lot of these walls, interior walls specifically, they're not going to be load bearing. Okay. But the first thing I do is I look at the structure of the house. So if the roof line is going left to right, then chances are your weight-bearing walls are going to go front to back because that's going to be your shorter span.
Okay.
Lumber by the linear foot is more expensive the longer it gets. So to take a wall, a header from the front to the back, or a floor joist from the front to the back is very expensive, but it's even more expensive if it goes left to right because it's wider this way.
Okay.
So interior walls, and I look at what's above it. If there's nothing above it, living space is just wide open, then chances are there's no weight from the roof coming down to the second floor. So it's all about how the load is carried from the roof down.
Okay.
Obviously all your outside walls are load bearing, and then in the middle of the house, typically you'll have in these older houses load bearing walls because they are designed with these cross members. And they cross right here in the middle of the house. So this is a load-bearing wall, and that's why it's still up. Now, we have a couple different options here. Because we have the upstairs, and we'll get up there in a couple minutes and you'll see, we're using that space as living space.
Okay.
So we don't want to take the ceiling, or take the joist and tuck it into the attic.
Gotcha.
Because that cuts into living space.
Yeah.
So in this case, what we're going to do is we'll put a post on this side. And again, thinking about carrying the load down.
Mm-hmm.
So what this is here, this header here, this is carrying the load across these two studs. I'm sorry. So this here is carried down. So if we just take this same setup and stretch it out. Now, what that means though is this 2x6 header that's perfectly fine in a 5-foot doorway won't be suitable if we span this 25 feet. So what we do is we'll use an LVL, and we go to our engineering department and we explain to them we have a live load upstairs, which means there's living space upstairs. Mm-hmm. And then we have a span of, in this case, it's about 18 feet. Mm-hmm. So they'll determine how big this piece of wood needs to be and how well it needs to be supported. And we'll get engineering diagrams down to where the nails need to be, how far spaced they need to be, and how thick they need to be.
Okay.
So we make sure that the product that we send back out to the customer meets all existing codes. We don't ever want to have a house that's not safe.
Sure.
But you do want to stretch these doorways out as much as possible to create an open, welcoming environment.
Got it. That's great stuff. Thank you, Avi.
My pleasure. So yeah, so this will be carried up and over in this case, so we can still keep the floor upstairs. Like I said, the windows and all that will be replaced. So we're kind of, our framing team will come through here later this week. We'll get these walls out of the way and we'll start framing the new walls. Once the framing's done, then our electrical team will come through and our plumbing team will come through and do what's called rough plumbing and rough electrical. So just moving everything where it's gonna go, all in advance of the windows getting in, because we don't want to drywall around old windows, because the new windows, while they'll fit the hole, we're going to trim around the windows. So we don't want to do work to get us forward to then step backwards, because as an investor, they only want to see forward motion. So if it's slow forward motion, because of an understood, like in this case, windows delay, that makes more sense than very fast forward motion followed by very fast regress just to come back and do it all over again. So as an investor, I know they only want to see a bill for windows once. They don't want to see it 2 or 3 times.
That's where some of that experience comes in handy though, right?
Yes. So in this case, this is going to become that master bedroom. And in similar cases where we've kind of robbed Peter to pay Paul, in this bedroom, we're going to rob the kitchen, because this kitchen space, while it's a good sized kitchen, it's in the wrong spot in the house. So this living area over here is, I don't want to say useless, but once we open these walls up, it'll just be an extra dining room that's unneeded in this house. And as a homeowner, I'd much rather have an in-suite master bathroom than to have a second dining room in a house this size.
Yeah.
So we're going to take that dining room away, slide the kitchen down, and in doing that, we're going to repurpose this side of the kitchen, and we're going to add a master bathroom, and then it already has a closet, so we'll probably do a second master closet, so we'll have a his and hers closet. I'll let you decide which one's which when we finish. That's all up to the homeowner's discretion. But this will be a great size master bedroom, plenty of space for closets. Again, in this room, we'll do recessed lighting. All of our bedrooms will have fans. Master bedrooms, the ideal situation is you have recessed lighting in the master bedroom and then fans in all the bedrooms. And that just helps add a little bit more of a homey touch to the bedrooms. Throughout the kitchen and then the living space, again, recessed lighting like we talked about. And then a really nice pendant feature as you walk in, separating the living room from the kitchen.
I like that.
So,
something to really draw your eyes to.
Exactly. You still want to have compartmentalized rooms. You don't want to live in a house that's just one big giant room. You still want to have a feel like I'm in the kitchen, I'm in the living room, I'm in the bedroom. But in breaking them up with less demising attributes like a light fixture, that'll show that it's the kitchen and a living room without having to separate the two rooms apart. So from down here, we've got this bathroom. The guys have gutted it to the point where we're comfortable with. Our goal in any house is to leave a toilet if possible. All the contractors really appreciate that because the 7-Eleven is kind of a hike from here. And then again, this is a great bedroom, nice closet space. And once we get these windows out, this will really be a great additional second bedroom on the main floor. So from the first floor, we can head up and check out what the upstairs is going to look like. And again, once the framing team comes through, this staircase, so from the staircase down would be a wall, but from the staircase up would be a railing.
Gotcha.
So again, where this used to have a wall, it was very clear this was the living room and that was the staircase. So if somebody was coming down, hey mom, what's for dinner? And there was actually a door here through the doorway. So, Johnny had to come all the way down, hey mom, what's for dinner? Now we can just peek his head around the corner and he's part of the living room kitchen experience from still being on the staircase upstairs.
Yeah, it really opens up the space too.
Yeah, so that's exactly the goal. I don't see, as a group of people, I don't see us regressing back to wanting to have very small compartmentalized rooms. But yeah, the goal will be all of this will be opened up. On the left side, the right side will still be a wall.
I really think this is fantastic because instead of you just coming in as a contractor and just putting in new flooring or putting in, new paint or whatever, to really create something that is going to make the investor substantially more money.
So the trust that investors put in us is not overlooked. This is a guy who spent nearly $500,000 without ever seeing something, and then spent a huge amount of money with us, allowing us to kind of see the vision through. So by him saying, kind of just let it go, we're able to come through, and our design team is able to come through, and this room is a perfect example. Where you're standing was a bedroom. You can see where the closet used to be. So not a bad sized bedroom, but you had a room up here. On this side, you had next to no space. All of this was a hallway. And then over here, you had where you can see there was a toilet. So functionally, this upstairs was very segmented. However, by putting the doorway here at the top of the steps, now you've truly got a one-bedroom apartment up here. What we're going to do is this will be a nice sized bedroom, because you got to remember these walls, the ceiling with the hip roof, these walls might be 12 or 13 feet across, but you don't have full usable space here. So these bedrooms do kind of close in on themselves. So by putting the door over here, it spans this height, this tall area, so you have plenty of room. And then the future state, the idea is on this side of this doorway, we'll probably put a barn door or a pocket door so it doesn't swing. Because the swing door will hit these roofs, or these eaves. So we'll eliminate that with a pocket door. And then we'll keep the toilet over there with a nice vanity on the other side of the toilet. So all of this, in my mind, would be the bathroom area. We're going to put a nice shower here, probably a bench along this wall since we've got the air duct here that we got to work around. So this will be a nice bathroom area. Off of the shower, we'll have a nice closet area. Again, a reach-in closet. And then the height of the room is still completely wide open. So really, from an investor's point of view, I want to make sure that we get them the most reusable and resellable square footage, because when somebody comes through here, they're not just looking at square footage, but they're using usable square footage.
So, I mean, but that creates repeat business for you too, right? Like if you do a great job for an investor, then they want to just keep using you over and over again. And then that just, you've got motivation to create a relationship and to make them money.
Yeah, I haven't proven the theory, but my understanding is if people don't make money on our houses, they won't do it again. The theory that if we make them money, they'll call us again, we really appreciate. And our goal is anytime somebody gives us the opportunity to make them money, we want to exceed their expectations. So, in the stock market, you can do well, but you can also lose everything. With a good mutual fund or a good investment guy, you can probably make 6, 7, 8% right now, and that's annualized. Most of our investors are making double-digit returns, 20, 30, 40% returns, and some of them are getting that and seeing that, realizing that money in as little as 2 or 3 months.
So what you're referring to is that you basically have almost 3 separate businesses. So you've got one business where you go in with your own money, you go and you flip the properties and renovate it like some of them that we've seen earlier today. The second option that you've got is for an investor to supply their own money and just to pay you to go in and renovate a property like that, what's happening here. But you've also got a third option for people that really don't want to go find the property. They really don't want to get involved in any of the work, but they just want a good place to put their money. So you also will take investor money directly and then be able to get a great return for that money, and it's gone directly into the project, correct?
Certainly. Yeah, so we've surrounded ourselves at SRI with a number of people and a number of different disciplines. And by having our own real estate team on board, we can go and, this is a property that part of our real estate team went out and found, but at our current pipeline of work, we weren't ready to take on another project like this as far as taking it down ourselves. So our real estate team looked at our investment, their investment pool, and they said, no, we can get this product for you, we can get it under contract. But the investor's concern was, well, what am I going to do with the work? Like, I don't know anybody in Nashville.
Because they're from Oregon, they're out of state.
And one of the problems I think with people that get into this business is, I heard something the other day. They said you're either a contractor or a contactor. So a contractor goes out there and they work the jobs like we do every single day. Your typical contactor calls a painter and says, okay, go paint the house. Calls a plumber and says, okay, go do this. Calls an electrician, but doesn't really have the relationships, doesn't have a standard, a working standard that all their team understands that, on one of our projects, this won't fly. So, we're at a point now with our teams that they understand what we expect. They understand what our timelines are. They understand that they're going to get paid right away, but they have to provide the work in a timely manner also. So by building a team of people around us, we're able to take on projects when we have the disposable income, but once we've filled up our pipeline with projects that we can purchase, we still have guys that still need to eat, so we take on work from other investors and we're able to take care of their projects for them as well.
So you're a great employer as well. You keep them busy and you pay them on time.
You looking for a job? We'll get you in here with a hammer and a sawzall in no time. So watch your step going down, but this is, I think this upstairs is a great example of completely useless space when we took over the house.
Yep.
And now it's beautiful and wide open. We'll get downstairs to the basement and you'll see another example of square footage that it was all the same square footage, but we have repurposed it. So watch this last step on the way down. It's got So this last one, we'll get them on and there you go.
Yeah, but the MS stairs is always a little adventurous for myself.
Never a dull moment.
No.
Okay. And then from here, we had our concrete guys out here, and based on the state of the existing concrete slab, instead of going back with an overlay, what we're going to do is we're going to form it up and we're going to pour a new slab.
Okay.
So we're not going to take it out, but we are going to overlay the concrete with fresh concrete. instead of just stamping it.
That just shows the quality of work, though, right? I mean, finding the right way to do it instead of the cheap way to do it.
Yeah, that was, and because if you just overlay this with a stamped concrete, it'll flake off and crack off in just a couple months or a few years. And that's something that we don't want to deal with. Nashville's too small of a town to really make people angry.
So what's interesting about this project is I was trying to form a square peg into a round hole, was really trying to make this into a one-family home. And you know, after Avi had walked through it, he was like, I really think this needs to stay a duplex. And when I ran the comps on a duplex, I was like, holy cow, it's $100,000 more if we sell it as a duplex than a single family home. So
yeah, so this is, I mean, it's set up that way. It would have cost more to go back to a single family house. And if I was looking for a house in Nashville, to be able to find a house that I could buy and maybe stretch on my budget, but know I could make an extra $1,500 a month or $1,200 a month renting the downstairs out,
Yep.
You know, that would help me justify the stretch. And then you get into a house that you can't really afford, but the renter helps you afford it. So down here, the goal was to make this more of a usable house. You know, because somebody's going to use this as this whole floor is going to be their house.
Yep.
So we've got the guest bedroom over here, and by deleting this wall and these stairs and everything that was over here, we were able to come through here, and now you can really see where this second bedroom is going to fill in. So the bedroom comes to here. You got a closet back there. Our team will frame out and we'll drywall around this. But this is an example of, you know, going up with that. We were talking about headers upstairs. If we were going to go up into the attic space, you'd have this type of thing down upstairs also. So it's unavoidable down here with the HVAC and the cost to get rid of this, to actually hide it in the cavity up here. It'd be more than it's worth.
But taking out that staircase served two purposes, right? So it not only gave you the space that you needed for that second bedroom, but it eliminated any privacy issues or any connection between this unit and the upstairs unit. So whoever buys it and is living on that main floor, they never have to worry, is somebody going to come knocking on that door or anything?
Yeah, so however you look at it, whether you're the person downstairs worried about security, you've got a front door with a deadbolt on it. Nobody's coming down the stairs by accident.
Yep.
Or if you're upstairs worried about security, same idea. You've got to come through the front door, and at that point, it's just a typical security risk. I mean, everybody's got a front door.
Yep.
But you don't have somebody in your house that can just walk up a set of stairs. So the way this plays out, this kitchen has been gutted, but once we get rid of this wall here, this kitchen will open into this living. So this wall and then to here. So this will be completely open. So again, the idea is being able to walk in through the front door and be able to see the living space, the kitchen, all of that will be visible from the front door.
Nice.
So as a home, if somebody's in the kitchen, somebody walks through the front door, hey honey, how was your day? Versus having to go find somebody.
So first bedroom over here, and then second bedroom right over here. Okay.
So we'll create a closet in there, so we have two bedrooms.
Yep.
And then we've got the bathroom here. So again, we'll have a single bathroom downstairs, have a nice shower in it, its own laundry facility down here, and then you have access both through the front door, and then it's got its own walkout back door.
Yeah, so adding that second bedroom, you've taken kind of useless space that was over there that really wasn't being used, getting rid of the staircase for the privacy portion of it. But really, I mean, for who's ever living upstairs to be able to get way more rent, because two separate tenants, they could be friends or whatever, to be able to share that rent will be able to give quite a bit more than just one person would.
Oh yeah, I mean, this house, whether you're living here and just hoping to move up in the world and have somebody rent downstairs, or an Airbnb option, or mother-in-law suite, but mother-in-law suite that's got a front door lock on it. I mean, just, it opens up the opportunity. We try to make it to where somebody can see themselves living in here. And the less constraints we put between the house and them, the better, the easier it is for them to see the usability and the functionality for them.
So how long do you think this project will take to get completed?
So this, we're looking at probably another 2 months.
Okay.
We just got started on it. We'll see what the lead times are for some of these materials. You know, this time of year, it's always a challenge because you've got the weather changing. You got earlier, obviously it gets darker earlier.
Yep.
So guys are knocking off a little bit earlier, where it was very common for us over the summer to work until 8 or 9 o'clock. You know, we're having to leave job sites a little after 6 because it just feels so much later for families when we're working in neighborhoods. And then between Thanksgiving and Christmas and holidays, it's not our guys. I mean, our guys need time off too, but you have shutdowns and you have delays throughout the supply chain.
That's a neat little flipper tip that you just gave, you know, to kind of budget that into your time schedule. Winter versus summer time of year really does make a big difference on how long your flips are going to take.
Yeah, so the goal so we've been through a handful of houses over the last couple of days, and they're all starting, and they're all going to be multi-month projects. So on those projects, what we're trying to do is address all the exterior issues first. So things like roofs, windows, doors, because once we close ourselves in from the outside world, we can heat the house up. But you know, it's much easier for a guy to work inside a warm house with it being freezing outside than to work outside when it's freezing if the house is warm. So we try to, it's not that we work around the weather. Like the guys, like we have to work regardless. That's the benefit of not being a doctor. You know, you got to work. But at the same time, we can do what we can to make it to where they can work easier. But yeah, we'll be working all winter. Just some of the challenges that come up with it, whether it's heat or freezing pipes or things like that, we try to address that while it's still a little warmer outside.
And this one's already got a laundry room built in back here, correct?
Yeah, so through that, so this will be an exterior door we took out. So through this area here, you see we've got rough in here for your washer and dryer. So this will be from the downstairs tenant, you have access to a private washer and dryer, and then through that back door there, you've got access to the backyard.
Nice.
So this one, you know, they've done some moderate upgrading over the years. You got fairly new water heaters, fairly new air handlers. The electrical in the house, interestingly, you can see it has fairly new panels. So you got 200 amp panels here, which is great. Everything's nice and labeled. And you can see when they ran their power, so this is fairly new, but all of this is old wiring. And a lot of those aren't grounded. So from when you're looking at properties to buy,
because you could be fooled by this. You could see that and say, oh, there's all new electrical throughout the house.
Oh yeah, but let me show you. So right here in this bathroom, you can see this is the ground plug. A lot of the plugs throughout the house, especially upstairs, they don't have that third ground in the outlet.
Oh yeah.
So downstairs, it looks like it's probably after whatever the remodel was the first time. But you can see down here, you've got new drywall. Upstairs, you had thicker drywall, which is an older style of wall board versus the 1/2-inch drywall. And then you've got a number of plugs that aren't grounded. And I've got friends that flip houses, and they don't notice the ground issue until the home inspector shows up. And then they've got a lot of work on a house that's already finished in their mind. So we'll get all that stuff addressed. So there are a lot of things in this house. It's a perfect example. There's a lot of work going on in the backside once the demo's done, and that's fun to see. You know, you can quantify that, but all the additional work on the backside that you don't see until it actually comes to fruition. So it's easy when you're working with people out of state. If you don't keep them updated on what you're doing, it's very easy for them to believe that nothing's happening. So it's important to recognize the prep work sometimes is more difficult and more time consuming. It just doesn't yield as good of pictures as the final work.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch this week by week and see this progress and kind of get to show off the quality of work that you do and watch your vision come to reality.
Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, Avi.
Thank you. See you guys later.